The awakening of a giant. In the vast landscape of ancient Mesopotamia, few powers struck as much fear and awe as the Neo-Assyrian Empire. It rose not through chance, nor through the slow, organic growth that shaped many early civilizations, but through a deliberate, engineered transformation, the forging of a disciplined, relentless state built for conquest. Long before it became an empire, Assyria was a region of city-states, Ashur, Nineveh, Kalhu, small but strategically placed along the trade routes of the Tigris. These cities were not yet the titan they would become. They watched the great powers of their time rise and fall: Sumer, Akkad, Babylon, Mitanni. They learned from each of them. But by the 10th century BCE, something began to change. Assyria awakened. It became organized, militarized, and unified under a new political vision, one that would shape the first true superpower in human history. The kings who forged an empire, the Neo-Assyrian Empire, did not rise because of a single ruler. It rose because a series of kings, each more ambitious than the last, built upon one another's foundations. Ashurbanipal II, the architect of terror and power projection. Shalmaneser III, the conqueror of the West. Tiglath-Pileser III, the reformer who revolutionized military organization. Sargon II, the strategist who rebuilt the empire's authority. Sennacherib, the destroyer of Babylon and engineer of Nineveh. Esarhaddon, the king who conquered Egypt. Ashurbanipal, the scholar-warrior who built the world's first great library. Each king was a stepping stone toward dominance. Each expanded the empire's borders and restructured its systems. Each contributed to the emergence of an unstoppable machine, one powered by iron, discipline, and fear. The machine of war. The Neo-Assyrian Empire did not simply possess an army. It engineered one. This was the first fully professional, state-funded military in human history. Not seasonal farmers, not temporary levies, not tribal coalitions. A permanent force, a machine. Infantry drilled for close combat. Archers trained to fire in synchronized waves. Cavalry equipped with iron-tipped lances and composite bows. Siege engineers capable of taking any city on earth. The Assyrians also perfected something revolutionary: mass logistics. They built supply lines that stretched for hundreds of kilometers. They marched with mobile forges, carpenters, surveyors, cooks, physicians, scribes, water bearers, a complete moving civilization. Where most armies collapsed after days, the Assyrians could fight for months. But their most terrifying innovation was psychological warfare. They carved their victories into stone reliefs, flayed enemies, impaled rebels, cities burning, kings kneeling. These were not decorations. They were warnings. Messages carved for the world. Resist us, and you will become history. The heart of power, the Assyrian administration conquest alone, cannot hold an empire. The Neo-Assyrian genius was administrative. At its core, the empire operated like a modern bureaucratic state. Provincial governors, Zaknu, appointed by the king, rotated to prevent local power bases. Provincial capitals, each with archives, tax centers, storage depots, and barracks. A multi-tiered communication system. Relay stations delivered messages across the empire in days rather than weeks. Agricultural taxation system. Farmers, shepherds, merchants, craftsmen, all were cataloged and taxed efficiently. Mass deportations, not slavery. Entire communities were relocated to populate new lands and stabilize the frontiers. This was not chaos. It was systematic integration. By moving skilled workers, metalworkers, stonemasons, scribes, the empire spread knowledge, labor, and loyalty in a controlled rhythm. Assyria invented the idea of managed populations. The result? An empire nearly impossible to destabilize. Cities of stone and fire. The Neo-Assyrian capitals were not just cities. They were propaganda made of stone. Kalhu Nimrud, the first imperial showcase Ashurbanipal II, turned Kalhu into a monumental administrative center. Massive palaces. Guardian Lamassu statues with human heads, eagle wings, and bull bodies. Kilometers of walls. Every inch designed to impress and intimidate. Dur Sharakin, Khorsabad, Sargon's perfect city, a planned city built from nothing. Symmetrical avenues, fortified gates, astronomical alignments. The ideal expression of imperial power. Nineveh. The crown jewel Sennacherib expanded Nineveh into the largest city on earth at the time. He built water canals stretching over 50 kilometers, aqueducts engineered with precision centuries ahead of their time, a palace so vast it was called the palace without rival. Nineveh was the Assyrian dream carved into the earth. Order, power, eternity, kings who claimed the world. To the Assyrian mind, kingship was not political, it was cosmic. An Assyrian king was the chosen of Ashur, the weapon of the gods, the protector of order, the punisher of chaos. He ruled not only by authority, but by divine mandate. Every inscription, every relief, every statue repeated the same message. The king acts for the gods. To resist him is to resist heaven. This ideological armor solidified the empire. The king wasn't a man. He was a symbol, a living embodiment of Assyria's destiny. The Assyrian worldview. The Assyrians saw the universe as a battleground of order versus chaos. Order equals Assyria. Chaos equals all who oppose them. Their mission was to maintain balance by conquering instability. This belief system explains their brutality. It wasn't mindless violence. It was ritualized, purposeful, even sacred in their worldview. To protect the heartland, they believed they must dominate the world. To avoid collapse, they believed they must strike first. This worldview made them unstoppable, until the world finally turned against them. The road to Egypt. No moment captures Assyria's power better than the conquest of Egypt. Esarhaddon marched an army across the deserts of Sinai, a logistical nightmare for any ancient force. But the Assyrian machine succeeded where countless others had failed. By 671 BCE, Memphis fell. The pharaoh was defeated. The Nile Valley was under Mesopotamian rule. The Assyrian Empire had reached its greatest geographic extent. This was not just conquest. It was a message to the world. There is no power beyond our reach. For a brief moment, Assyria ruled the two ancient cradles of civilization, Mesopotamia and Egypt, under one banner. That had never happened before, and it would never happen again. The scholar king, Ashurbanipal, and the great library Ashurbanipal was unlike any king before him. He was educated, multilingual, and obsessed with knowledge. He read Sumerian. He read Akkadian. He collected tablets, copied myths, archived rituals, preserved medicine. The Library of Ashurbanipal was humanity's first universal library. It contained the Epic of Gilgamesh, medical treatises, astrological texts, law codes, hymns, administrative records, ritual instructions. Battle Chronicles, 25,000 tablets, the memory of Mesopotamia. Without this library, much of ancient Near Eastern knowledge would have vanished forever. Ashurbanipal was a paradox, a king of war and a king of words, a destroyer and a preserver. The fall of the superpower. For centuries, Assyria conquered everyone, but eventually, everyone united against Assyria, Babylon, the Medes, the Scythians, the Cimmerians. A grand coalition formed, like wolves circling a wounded lion. Assyria's territories were too vast, its enemies too many, its internal struggles too deep. By 612 BCE, the unthinkable happened. Nineveh fell. The palace without rival burned. The empire collapsed into ash. The superpower of the ancient world vanished in a single generation. But its legacy, military, administrative, architectural, intellectual, shaped all future empires. Rome, Persia, Babylon, even modern states. All inherited something from Assyria. *** legacy of the Iron superpower, ***. Though the Neo-Assyrian Empire collapsed in fire, its echoes shaped every civilization that followed. Its systems survived long after its cities fell. Professional standing armies copied by Persia, then Greece, then Rome. Provincial administration, a blueprint for imperial control across continents. Road and communication networks, the ancestors of modern state infrastructure. Massive population resettlements, a strategy used by empires for millennia. Monumental propaganda reliefs, inscriptions, architecture, the first state-controlled narrative. Even the idea of the king as both political and cosmic authority survived in empires and kingdoms across the ancient world. The Assyrians carved themselves into history, not through kindness, but through scale. Not through peace, but through structure. Not through longevity, but through transformation. Assyria did not merely rule the ancient Near East. It defined how future empires would rule the world. The empire died. Its system didn't. The empire that should not be forgotten, Nineveh, is silent now. Its walls toppled, its palaces buried, its Lamassu guardians shattered. Wind moves across ruins where kings once walked. Dust settles where armies marched. The Tigris flows past a landscape that once shaped the ancient world. But when we study Assyria, truly study it, we discover something deeper. Civilization is not built by comfort. Progress is not born from peace. History advances through ambition, sometimes brutal, sometimes enlightened. The Neo-Assyrian Empire was both a warning, a lesson, a blueprint, a mirror of human potential and human darkness. Its story forces us to ask a timeless question. What does it mean to build power that can conquer the world, but cannot save itself? As the ashes of ancient empires fade, the lessons they leave behind remain. If you found this deep dive documentary meaningful, consider supporting the channel by liking this video and subscribing. New cinematic history films are released every week on Vexopia, exploring the rise and fall of the world's greatest civilizations. Thank you for watching. Until the next chapter of history.